Hey everybody, in case you've been living under a rock, a leaked memo recently surfaced that declared that the Supreme Court is potentially in the process of overturning Chug versus Weee. This is a law that came into effect in around 2001, which stated that it was legal to utilize a very stupid technique to give you the contrast of light and dark in songwriting without using melody to do so. It was probably used first in Meshuggah's Future Breed Machine song, and then popularized with the Dillinger Escape Plan's Calculating Infinity record. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the sound. So although this technique is pretty superficial, it is effective at being jarring in that it uses a minor second to clash with those open chugs. So I understand the use of it. The problem is, since it's been declared legal in around 2001 to have this idea in your songwriting, most bands in the metalcore genre have abused it. And now it's potentially being overturned. And there's a big uproar here because I understand that we have gotten to this point thinking that it is okay to have this idea vacuum the fuck out of your skull before it is carried to term and becomes full-fledged modern metal. But there is a bit of a morality clause here. I mean, is metalcore a clump of cells? When is metalcore considered alive? Is it conception? Is it somewhere in the first trimester? It's really difficult to say, but by allowing the abortion of the idea to be safe, legal, and rare, we've prevented people from having to go to the alley and have it vacuumed out of their fucking heads the hard way. And I like to think that we've avoided a lot of casualties in doing so, but people are really upset because if this law gets overturned, you might have to drive a few hours to have someone take a fucking vacuum to your head and chop that shit out of your fucking brain. Now, I get it. It's barbaric, and, it's going to take a lot of effort to do that drive. But we've lived under this umbrella that the government's been on our side here. And by making this illegal and up to the states to decide, it really just takes the liberty out of the public, I feel. And, a lot of people will say that getting this procedure done, is a matter of convenience. And I get it. If you're afflicted with the metalcore germ, chances are you're young, you probably thought it was a good idea, and then you decided you wanted to pursue a career. And metalcore is a really big strain on your wallet. If you carry it to term, you're probably going to buy a lot of really expensive gear, a lot of boutique guitars you don't need, a full fridge for a bass cabinet, even though bass frequencies travel the fuck through the entire fucking venue. A lot of stuff you really don't need when, you can go ahead and just get a job once you get that shit removed from your goddamn head. Now, another argument people use to say that it would be unjust to repeal this law is that in cases of rape and incest, it would be a really bad moral dilemma to take on to allow metalcore to go to full term. And a lot of them cite the number as being 1% or less than 1% that metalcore is a result of rape or incest, but I really feel that those numbers are vastly underrepresented. And I mean, the proof is all around us. Metalcore has a very forceful way to get in your head, and you might be trying to click around YouTube to find a good band to listen to, and then you're going to hear this shit when you think it's a real metal band, and it's really invasive. And as far as the incest goes, a lot of these musicians that practice this shit have about 5 or 6 different bands that all have the same kind of template. So it's way more out there than 1%. And even so, we shouldn't just ignore the idea that these extremes are going to be out there and let that be the reason why we're going to repeal this law. So I really think that we're kind of treading down a very dangerous path here. We should enable the government to allow us to vacuum this shit out of our fucking heads at any point. If we're crowning, it doesn't matter. Get that shit out of there. So, I don't want to make a line in the sand here. This is a very controversial topic, and I just wanted to bring awareness to it because you might see a lot of protest going on given this scenario, and I just think that it would be important as metalheads to know that this might be a turning point for us. this might be a turning point where we understand the liberties that we once had and the liberties that are going to be potentially taken away. And, you know, who knows? As a result of this ruling, we might see even more metalcore come to fruition in the future. So, in case of that, God help us all.